The International Space Station is not shaped like a clock. It has no ticking gears, no glowing portal, no countdown to some distant century. And yet, it moves through time differently than you do. Every moment you read this, the International Space Station is orbiting Earth at roughly 7.66 kilometers per second. That speed is not just a number, it is a distortion, because time is not absolute, it is not universal, it is not synchronized across the cosmos. It depends on how fast you move and how deep you sit inside gravity. This is not speculative physics. It is the foundation of modern space-time theory established by Albert Einstein. Special relativity tells us that motion slows time. The faster you travel relative to another observer, the slower your clock ticks compared to theirs. General relativity tells us that gravity also slows time. The stronger the gravitational field you inhabit, the slower your clock ticks relative to someone farther away. These are not philosophical abstractions. They are experimentally verified facts. The ISS exists in a delicate balance between these two effects. It is moving extremely fast compared to someone standing still on Earth. That velocity slows time aboard the station, but it is also higher above Earth's surface, where gravity is slightly weaker. That reduced gravitational pull allows time to move slightly faster compared to clocks on the ground. So which effect dominates? Velocity wins. The ISS's speed produces a stronger time-slowing effect than the altitude produces time speeding. The net result is small but measurable. Astronauts aboard the ISS age more slowly than people on Earth. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, physically. If an astronaut spends 6 months aboard the station, they return to Earth a few milliseconds younger than they would have been had they remained at sea level. Milliseconds. It sounds trivial, but it is profound, because it means time is flexible. Consider how precisely we must measure time to detect this effect. Atomic clocks count vibrations of atoms, often cesium or rubidium, at astonishing accuracy. These clocks lose or gain less than a second over millions of years. When atomic clocks are flown on airplanes or launched on satellites, they no longer agree perfectly with identical clocks left on Earth. They diverge by exactly the amount relativity predicts. The global positioning system depends on this correction. GPS satellites orbit at about 20,000 kilometers above Earth. Their clocks run faster than Earth-bound clocks due to weaker gravity, but slower due to orbital velocity. Engineers must adjust their timing systems to account for both effects. If they did not, GPS errors would accumulate at roughly 10 kilometers per day. Your phone works because relativity is real. The ISS is simply a human habitat experiencing the same physics. Every 90 minutes, it circles Earth. 16 orbits per day, 16 sunrises, 16 sunsets, and with each orbit, it accumulates tiny differences in elapsed time compared to Earth's surface. Now imagine extending this concept. If velocity slows time, then increasing velocity increases the effect. At speeds approaching the speed of light, time dilation becomes dramatic. A spacecraft traveling at 99% of light speed would experience time far more slowly than observers on Earth. Years for the traveler could equal decades or centuries for those left behind. The ISS is nowhere near such speeds, but it proves the principle in the real world. It is a demonstration that time travel into the future is not science fiction, is physics. The future is accessible, but only forward, and only through motion or gravity. There is another subtlety. The ISS is in orbit, which means it is constantly falling toward Earth, but moving sideways fast enough to keep missing it. This state, free fall, creates microgravity inside the station. Astronauts float not because gravity is absent, but because they are continuously falling around the planet. They are weightless, but not gravity-less. Gravity still shapes their path. and gravity shapes time. Clocks on Earth tick slower than clocks far away in interstellar space because Earth's mass curves space-time. The closer you are to a massive object, the deeper you sit in its gravitational well. Time at sea level passes slightly slower than time atop Mount Everest. Time at Earth's surface passes slower than time in orbit. Time near a neutron star would pass far slower still. Near a black hole, the effect becomes extreme. Minutes near the event horizon could correspond to years far away. The ISS operates in a gentle regime of this same cosmic rulebook. Its time shift is small because its velocity is small compared to light speed, and its altitude is modest compared to extreme gravitational environments. But the difference accumulates. If an astronaut were to spend a cumulative decade in orbit across multiple missions, they would return to Earth perhaps tens of milliseconds younger than an identical twin who remained on the ground. That difference is not perceptible, but it is absolute. It cannot be undone. It is recorded in space-time. There is something quietly unsettling about this. Two people can begin synchronized, born at the same moment, and then diverge simply by following different paths through space. Time becomes personal, local, path-dependent. This realization dissolves the idea of a universal now. There is no cosmic presence shared by all observers. Each observer carries their own clock. Each clock depends on motion and gravity. The ISS is not leaping dramatically into the future, is drifting incrementally. With every orbit, its cruise timeline shifts microscopically relative to Earth's surface. When astronauts return home, there is no visible difference. No one notices. There's no jump in consciousness. But the equations confirm it. Space-time has treated them differently. And this is perhaps the most astonishing part. Human beings have already become time travelers. Not in theory, in practice. The ISS proves that relativity is not confined to thought experiments or distant stars. It operates here, now, around our own planet. The station was built for research in biology, physics, and material science. It was built as a symbol of international cooperation. It was not built as a demonstration of temporal displacement. Yet that is exactly what it is. A continuously occupied structure that experiences time at a slightly different rate than the surface below. The difference is tiny, but scale it up. Imagine a future spacecraft capable of traveling at a significant fraction of light speed. Imagine explorers leaving Earth for what feels like a 5-year journey. Imagine returning to find decades have passed. The ISS is the seed of that possibility. It shows that time is not an immovable river, it is a dimension intertwined with space. And movement through space reshapes movement through time. So yes, the International Space Station is a time machine, not dramatic, not cinematic, but real. With every 28,000 kilometer per hour orbit, it moves its crew ever so slightly into Earth's future. Seconds across entire missions, milliseconds across months. Tiny distortions in the grand structure of space-time. The astronauts do not feel the shift, but physics does. Time bends quietly around motion and gravity, and in the silent arc of its orbit, humanity has already begun stepping, increment by increment, into tomorrow.